Hello, Julie here, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time visiting me, please subscribe and click the bell next to the subscribe button so you're notified each time I upload a new video. Today's video is a scrapbooking layout. It's a very minimalistic layout, but I hope you enjoy the process and give it a go because it is very easy. I start off with a sheet of white cardstock, Montmartre modelling paste and a Kaisercraft stencil called Doily. I've taped this in position because I didn't want it to move, and I've just selected a section of the stencil to create the top part, or the body, I guess you'd say, of this dream catcher. The feel that I'm going for on this layout is a dreamy look, so I'm using a dream catcher to try and get that feel. I use my palette knife to push the modelling paste through the stencil, and as I said, I've taped it down so it doesn't move, so I'm hoping to get a nice clean image. I leave that to dry overnight. I don't usually heat anything to dry it, I just let it dry naturally. Now I'm going to use this Dylusions Ink Spray in, what's it called, Vibrant Turquoise. I'm going to water that down a bit because I don't really want it that dark. I'm using a mood board from Off the Rails Scrapbooking for this month, March 2020. So this is one of the colours in their mood board, so I'm just applying that watered down with the water brush and then spraying it with some water to give it a bit more fluidity, and then I'm taking the colour right out to the edge of the top of the page. I was going to just leave it in this circle area, but I thought it would look better if it went right out to the edge. So I'm just giving it a couple of layers so that I can get the intensity of colour that I'm after. I then set that aside to dry naturally. So I put that out of the way, and I get out my Kaisercraft DD100 Feather die, and I cut some feathers from a pale blue cardstock that I have, and also I cut it from some white. I'm going to use the same ink that I used on the background to give the feathers a bit more colour so that they blend in nicely to the background. I don't cover the feathers completely, and I try and vary the strength of the colour in different areas as well. Once I've finished colouring the feathers, I use my black ink pad and ink around the edges, and in the middle of each feather there's a slit, so I ink around the edges of that slit as well. This just gives it a bit of extra definition when I put it on my layout. I'm happy with my feathers now, but I want the dream catcher to stand out more from the background, so I used my Uniball Eye Micro black pen, and I outline all of the texture paste that I'd put through the stencil so that it stands out, and you can actually see that there is a texture paste design behind there. And now, with the magic of video, we can see the completed outlining. This is where I decided that I wanted something a bit dark to sort of ground the layout, so I decided to layer it onto a sheet of black cardstock. I trimmed my piece of white down to 11.5 inches square, and then I use my double-sided tape to attach it to the black cardstock. I apply a solid row of tape all around the edge of this because with the mediums on it, the card, even though it is a thick card, has warped slightly, so I'm hoping that the black card will sort of smooth it out a bit. Now I start to think about the photo that I'm going to use. I mean, I had already chosen the photo, but now I start to think about where I'm going to position that on my layout. I take an emery board and file around the edge of the photo, which gives it that nice fine white border, and then I mat it on a piece of black cardstock that I've trimmed down so that there's only a fraction of black showing. I only want a very fine black border around it. I don't want to make the photo too dark. Now it's time to start deciding where I want to position my feathers. I lay them out how I think I want them, move them around until I'm happy with them, and then I use some clear, Aleene's original tacky glue, and just attach them to the page. I don't stick the feather down completely, I just run a bit down each side so that there will still be a bit of dimension in the feathers. I do overlap some of the feathers. I use a pencil to draw the strings in that are attaching the feathers to the dream catcher, and then I go over them with my same uniball pen and make them into a fairly dark black line so that they can be seen. Dream catchers usually have beads on them, so to emulate the beads I have chosen these craft stall enamel stickers in practically the same colour as the ink that I've used on the background. I just position those here and there on these strings that are attaching the feather to the dream catcher base. I wanted my feathers to stand out a bit more, so I took my uniball pen and I roughly outlined the feathers. I didn't do a solid line, it was a very sketchy sort of outline, and it was to make the feathers a bit more visible on the background. Now that I'm happy with the appearance of the background, I'm going to attach my photo. I have attached a piece of old cardboard box to the back of the photo to lift it off of the page, and I'm going to attach that now using the Aleene's original glue so that I've got a bit of wriggle room when I position it. I decided to give the page a messy sort of doodled border around the edge of the white cardstock. I used the same uniball pen for that as well. The photo is of my granddaughter when she was in a play in the school holidays, and she was playing Cinderella. So I'm going to make my title using this Sizzix 662-667 alphabet die, and it's just going to say Cinderella. So I've cut that in black cardstock, and I'm going to attach that under the photo using liquid glue. I start off just using sight to line them up straight, but decide that I better get my T-ruler out and make sure that I am straight, because I'm not always perfect with the lining up of letters and things. So I get that out and find that I haven't done too badly. My final touch is to use my pen to write the date that this photo was taken, and to be honest, I should have used my T-ruler to do that because it is going slightly uphill. So that completes my layout for today. I hope you've enjoyed watching my video. If you have, please subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and click that bell next to the subscribe button so you're notified each time I upload a video. Thank you for joining me.